Welcome. So glad to have all of you here. Again, if you can, please share your video. Would love to see your faces. Smile. As much as we would love to be in person and sharing this, we do the best we can, and it helps us get to know each other a little bit more. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to go pretty fast here as soon as we get started. Wait just another minute or two as people are still continuing to come in, but welcome, Jermaine. Happy to have you here. If you can turn on your video, I'd love to see your face. Hello, Hassem, Jordan, David. Welcome, everyone. Glad to have you here. Now, as we get started in just a couple minutes, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. If you don't know me, and we haven't connected on LinkedIn or somewhere else, I invite you to connect and we can have a deeper conversation if that's something you'd like to do. I always love to get to know people a little bit better outside of, just this time when I'm presenting. So thanks so much for being here. Excited to do this. And we'll get started here in about 30 more seconds. We've got another couple people joining us. So welcome, Sam. And we'll get rolling. And I promise also that while I'll be sharing a lot of things, I want this to be as engaging as possible. And there will be some opportunities and some things that we'll do throughout the presentation to make sure that we can connect with each other along the way as well. So welcome, Alex, and welcome, Derek. Happy to have you here. We're going to get started about right now. If you can turn on your video, would love to see your face, see you smiling and get to know you a little bit better. Helps us all feel like we're actually engaged as we are here learning this stuff. So I'm going to share my screen. We'll go ahead and jump in and get started. Thank you, Sam. Good to see you. And here we go. Let's rock and roll. Can I get a thumbs up that we can see the screen that I'm sharing? Okay, Sam's giving me a thumbs up. Gochuklu's giving me a thumbs up. Excellent. Well, thanks so much. Today, as promised, we're going to have a masterclass on landing a job you love. And I'm going to teach you and do this in the framework of what I call the 5 forces of career acceleration. And we're going to jump right in and get started. But as we just get started here, I'm going to do something throughout the presentation, and I'm going to test it right now and see what you think. We're going to do something I call the quick chat, okay? Quick chat is where I'm going to ask you a question, okay? But I want you to use the chat box to type your answer in the chat box, but don't press enter until I do a 3, 2, 1 countdown. Because sometimes we ask for questions and then people feel kind of timid. But when we do a 3, 2, 1 countdown, then everyone answers at the same time. It's kind of fun to see how those answers roll in when they do, okay? So I'm going to do this every once in a while. And as well, we get to see all these responses come in simultaneously. So as we get started here, the first question, I just want to know where you're joining us from. Like, where are you located? So again, type it into the chat, but don't press enter until I do a countdown, okay? Give you just a couple more seconds to type that in. But it's just fun to see where people are coming in. Usually people all over the country and sometimes internationally as well. So hopefully you've got your answer typed in. 3, 2, 1, press enter. Tampa, Texas, Cleveland, Canada. There's some international folks. Dallas, Waterloo, Canada, a couple Canadians. Sacramento, very good. Well, people are kind of all over, excited to have people from all over. It's fun to see where people are calling in from. So as we move forward here, my promise, I want to give you this promise, that by the end of this training, you're going to have some clear actions and adjustments that you feel like you need to really take to get unstuck. And if you feel like you need a new job or you're unemployed, whatever that is, you're here because you want to get hired or find something that's more fulfilling. And I want to give you some things that I hope you'll have some clear action items that you can take after tonight, okay? And we're going to do that again in the context of these 5 forces of career acceleration and teach you how you can apply them now. I'm going to give you some actionable items that you can move forward and do right away, okay? And I hope that this is a different kind of webinar than sometimes you get. Sometimes you go to those webinars like, okay, yeah, well, here's a few ideas, but what you really need to do is spend $3,000 and work with me, and we're going to do all this stuff. Now, full transparency, I do have an opportunity for you to work with me some more if you feel like you need that help, but I know that you're going to get some value out of the content that we share tonight, no matter whether you do that or not. That's just a way for you to get extra help and support if you feel like you need it, okay? So my invitation then is just to engage with the group, with the content. Put the cell phone away unless that's what you're using to tune in, okay? Actively participate, ask questions. I'll be kind of monitoring the chat as we go along. Take notes, get out a notebook, and write down, more importantly, not just the ideas, but the actions that you feel like you need to take on, and just see what you discover, okay? And be willing to perhaps change your thinking and change your actions as we move through this, okay? So that's my invitation for you. As we get started here, I want to introduce you to someone who I know and really like. His name's Lewis. When I first met Lewis, these are some of the things that he was telling me. He's like, I'm not getting any interview opportunities. He was experiencing some downsizing in his companies due to COVID and other forces, and he's like, I don't even know what I want to do next. Okay, so he's trying to figure that out. And he knew that like his resume needed some updating. It had been quite a while. He'd been in this company, and previously before that he was in another company for a long time. He's like, I don't even know what to focus on or how to do this. And he's like, I don't know how to network with the people who are going to be influential, who can really help me. But he really felt like, he's like, I know I have great skills, but what do I do? How do I really set myself apart from the crowd in this job market and to really get something that I'm excited about? Okay, so look at those things and think about for yourself. And so we're going to do another quick chat. Again, type your answers in the chat box and we'll do a 3, 2, 1. But my question is, and I'll go back to them, which of those statements that Lewis talked about do you relate with? Are there any that you relate with personally, or is there something similar perhaps? So I'm going to go back here, and I want you to look at these and just type in kind of the brief description of one or more of these statements or something similar that you can relate with, that is maybe the reason why you're here tonight. And if I can get that understanding, then perhaps we can even adjust some of the things that we talk about to point it to ways that will be more helpful for you. Okay, so type your answer in the chat. We'll give you just a few more seconds. Okay, we'll go 3, 2, 1, go. Press enter. Okay, so I see 3 and 4 having great skills that we don't know how to set ourselves apart from. Feel like hit a ceiling. Okay, great. Networking and those skills. The first 3, 1, 2, and 3. A lot of different answers here. So some of these at least are kind of resonating with you and are related. And not surprising, these are things I hear all the time from people, okay? So here's where we're going. We're going to talk about tonight how to get that clarity on where you want to go in your career path so that you can create something that you're really excited about and be laser focused on making that happen. I want to help you understand how to craft a personal brand for your career. And that's something that's going to help you stand out. What shows you that's different than everyone else that's out there. And I want to talk about how we build connections, what networking really is, which is really about building relationships and how to utilize strategic networking so you can connect with people who can help you achieve those goals that you have. And we'll talk about how you can really position yourself as a solution to a problem, so that when you talk to companies or they reach out to you, they see you as the critical piece to their success, okay? And I want to, as I said, I'll give you an opportunity to work with me to make even faster progress if that's helpful for you. So, you may be asking, is this really going to be helpful? Is this for you? These are some things that might describe you, okay? If you're an engineer or a technical professional, those are the primary types of people that I work with. And if you're out of a job and for some reason need to get hired quickly, or maybe you have a job but you feel underpaid, undervalued, or uninspired in your career for one reason or another. Hit that ceiling, as someone said. Maybe because engineers are so versatile, you have multiple job roles that you could go, like many directions you could take, and where you're really struggling is getting that clarity on where you should focus and what you really want to do, like uncovering that for yourself. Okay? And perhaps you've applied to dozens or more. Sometimes I talk to people who have applied to hundreds and hundreds of jobs and typically only get those automated responses, even if you hear back at all, right? So if any of these or something similar is describing you, then you're definitely in the right place. Now, if we haven't met, just want to do a quick intro on me. A couple years ago, I founded More Than Engineering. a service that I do that is all around helping engineers and technical professionals grow personally and professionally in careers and lives that they love. Okay, my personal technical background is in mechanical. I did software and manufacturing process engineering. Got my undergraduate degree in mechanical, have an MBA as well. For any of you who are podcast listeners, I host a podcast in connection and partnership with the Engineering Management Institute called the Engineering Career Coach Podcast. And so happy to invite you to go listen there if you're a podcast listener. But really, I'm excited to just be here and share with you. The whole reason why I do this is because I love helping people grow personally. I like to think that I went from building products to building people in the work that I do now. And so, but a little bit about my history, like I've been at the bottom, like I know what it feels like to feel stuck in a job that I hated and almost felt like my life was almost being sucked out of me. I felt like there wasn't anywhere for me to go. I wasn't enjoying myself. I was bored and unengaged and wasn't sure how to find someone or something new. And so I've been in that position. I also know what that fear is like of economic uncertainty. Okay, like living on unemployment to trying to take care of my wife and kids and fearful it would run out before I was able to turn things around. I've also had times where I've kind of been at the proverbial top in that cushy job of growth and leadership that paid well and had good benefits, but also had eventually got to the point where I knew that I got to the point where I still wasn't growing and knew I needed some change. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I started More Than Engineering 2019 to help engineers and tech professionals create careers they love without sacrificing that lifestyle that's really important to them. And we're talking about upgrading careers with intention. And that's something that's really big for me, that we do this intentionally in a way that's right for you personally. And so I want to help you and teach you some of the things that I've learned. And so it really started with me just finding ways to help people do a number of things, build confidence and mindset. We talked about getting clarity with people who are like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, what's next for me, help people learn how to network to opportunities they were excited about, and really just start envisioning a future that they could actually get behind and feel like they could go get. And so you may be asking like, hey, isn't this hard to do? Like does this really work? And yeah, the answer is yes. It's hard, but the answer is also yes, is that it does work. Even for people who seem like they've got all the cards stacked against them. Let me just give you one example. Okay, so Jay was one of the first people that I worked with. He was an international student originally. He graduated with his master's degree in engineering in 2019, but he couldn't work legally in the United States for 8 months because he had some visa issues. There was like a signature problem and things just didn't really work. So he couldn't work anywhere. And by the time he finally got that sorted out, it was February of 2020, and then of course the pandemic hit, right? And any interviews or opportunities that were in play, were suddenly gone. And all the while he was dealing with crippling student loans. He was an international student, so he had other loans that weren't federally backed, so he didn't get like student loan like payment pausing like some people got. So he was really struggling. And as a master's degree in engineering, he was working minimum wage at a gas station just to make ends meet to provide for, anything for he and his wife. Had a lot of cards stacked against him. But we worked on a lot of these things that we're going to talk about tonight. And it was extremely hard for Jay, but he overcame a lot. And in the end, he got 3 job offers. He's now thriving. I just talked to him a couple weeks ago. And when we were working together, he had kind of a vision board, and one of the things on there was he had a dream car that he really wanted to buy once he got hired and stuff. And I asked him, when I talked to him again, and he's like, hey, did you ever buy that car? He's like, yeah, I bought it. And he's got that now. And even, after working in the job that he eventually took, he got a promotion in 8 months, which was extremely fast. And he's looking ahead to even more great success. Because of the things that he learned and the changes that he made went far beyond just landing the job, but changed who he was as a person and some of the ways that he approached networking and building relationships and things that have continued to help him succeed. Okay, but that's a great story, but a quick reality check, like there's no magic bullet to this stuff. I can't give you a magic pill that's going to, solve all of your problems. I wish I could. I can't guarantee any specific results for you personally. And job transitions and landing jobs can often be quite hard work with a lot of disappointments along the way, okay? If there's something specific you want to do, I can't, conjure work history or skills that you wish you had but you haven't built yet. Like that takes time, right? And here's the thing, like a lot of people who seek for career coaching or help on this stuff, they don't actually make significant progress, not because they don't have the right ideas, but often because they're not willing to put in the work necessary to actually take action on it. But I don't think that's any of you, which is why you're here. You're willing to take action, you're willing to learn. So I'm just going to ask you real quick, are you ready? I'm gonna go through this whole process with you and how to do this. We're gonna go fast, but you're ready. I want you to answer this question. Just type yes in the chat. Like I want to know that you're ready to learn and take notes, and we'll get into this. Okay? Sam's saying yes. Who else is ready? Alex, Wilson, excellent. Thank you so much. So glad that you're ready, and we're gonna jump right in here. Okay? To the 5 forces of acceleration. Now, why do I call them forces? Well, because I have an engineering background, many of you, if not all of you, do as well. And I love to connect often these scientific engineering principles with the ideas of our human growth potential as well. So going back to classic law of physics, Newton's second law of motion describes how the velocity of an object changes with the forces applied to it. F equals ma, right? Or rearranged, you might say, acceleration equals force over the mass. Okay, so the principle is you have more force, you have more acceleration. More acceleration, you're going to go faster, more velocity, right? Okay, so that's what we want to do. We want to find these forces that are going to help you accelerate in your career. So going to do another quick chat, a question here. A reminder to not press enter until I do a countdown. But the question is, how would you describe very briefly in just a few words what your biggest career challenges you are facing right now? And I want you to then frame these 5 forces and any of them with regard to this as we go through this. But I want to know what that is. So how would you describe in just a few words what your biggest career challenge is? Type that in the chat, and we'll do a countdown in just a second. All right, 3, 2, 1, enter. Getting a chance to show the skills, being in the office all day, getting that clarity, that direction, opportunity, building those relevant skills, trying to land that first job with limited experience. By the way, I just did a blog post and video on that today, if you didn't see that. The long hours we experience, the changes in leadership, indecision about what the next step is. Yeah, so many great things here, okay? So I'm excited because almost all of those things we're going to be talking about a topic and principles that I hope are going to be helpful for you, for each of you as we move through, okay? So the first force that we're going to talk about, number 1, is this idea of getting clarity, okay? And so to start this off, I want to share a quick story. If you're not familiar, classic storybook and Disney movie, Alice in Wonderland. Alice is this young girl. She finds herself in this magical world, and she's going through the forest, and she comes upon this character called the Cheshire Cat. And she's kind of lost. She doesn't know where to go, and she asks, the cat, what road should I take? And the cat cleverly responds, well, where are you going? Okay, well, Alice says, well, I don't know. Like, this was a new place. She didn't know where she was trying to get to. She was just looking for some sort of directions, hoping someone would have the answer for her. But the cat says, well, if you don't know where you were going, any road will get you there. Okay? And sometimes I feel like this is what we do in our careers, right? Like, we just want to go somewhere different than where we are now. We know that where we're at right now isn't great, but we don't know where we're supposed to get to. Okay, so this idea of getting career clarity is about you deciding and getting clear on where you're actually headed, where you want to go. Because the truth is there are a lot of roads and options that you could take, but if you're willing to take any of them, then you're not focused. So when we kind of define where we want to go, then it helps us focus on the one that's right for you, okay? And some people, and many of us, myself included, feel like this is extremely difficult because we have so many different skills and ways that we could fill different types of roles or directions we could take and utilize ways we could grow. And so we're like, well, I don't know what's right for me. And so we get stuck in analysis paralysis. We spend so much time trying to figure this out, but not actually taking action and doing anything. Okay? But I realized over time, after I felt like I was stuck in this clarity and issue and analysis paralysis, that it doesn't have to be as hard as we sometimes make it. Okay? And there are some tools that you can use to figure out what's most important to you and help you make some progress. So one I want to share with you, just one. There are a lot of others, but I just want to share one with you tonight. It's the 5 whys. Maybe you've used this in your own work. I typically used it in my engineering work when doing root cause analysis of the issues so we could kind of get down to the real cause of the problem that we were experiencing. But it's also something that you can use to get clarity on what your goals are and why they're really important to you. And it's such a simple tool, but it's something that's extremely powerful. I believe the best tools are the most simple because we actually use them, right? And all you need to do is simply do what it says and ask the question why 5 times. So I just want to give you an example, walk you through what this could look like. Okay, you could use this for any goal. I'm going to use an example of a salary goal, but you could use a goal for anything here. So just as an example, a nice even number, let's say you had a goal that you wanted to make $100,000 per year. For some engineers, that may seem like a lot. For others, that may seem like not very much, depending on your level of experience and the industry that you're in. The number itself doesn't matter. You can insert whatever it would be significant for you, but the process is what I wanted you to understand here. So you would simply ask, like, okay, why is making this amount of money important to me? Well, I might say I want to comfortably provide for my family. Okay, so first level, that would be my answer. Okay, why is providing for my family important to me? Well, I want my children to have great opportunities in life. I've got 3 beautiful kids. I want to provide for them, a good life. That's important to me. Okay, that's great. So let's continue on. Why is giving my children great opportunities important to me? Well, I want to give them perhaps a better life than I had, whatever that is. Okay, why is that important? Giving them a better life than I had important to me? Well, at this point, I might start to uncover some deeper things about my growing up years or what that looked like or some of those deficiencies that maybe I felt like I had that are things that I want to make different from my own kids or something. Okay, and we could get into some deeper things that are going to start to get uncovered here, and that's the whole point, right? And the idea is just to keep going. Like, I only did 4 layers here, but you can go 5, you can go 6, you can go 7 or 8. Go as deep as you can. This activity is going to help you explore those key life events that have shaped you, those beliefs, those values that can help you get to the core of why you're doing what you're doing and what's important to you. Okay, just go as deep as you can. The idea is that if you can dig in and find your purpose and your values, and then you can act on that as a foundation for other actions that you can take. And this activity can really take less than 10 minutes. Something that's so quick, but sometimes you're going to get more clarity and motivation than you've had in a long time if you do this on the right goal and stick with it. You do that. So it's just one tool I want to give you on the clarity front. There are a lot of others I could share with you. But that's all we have time for tonight. But it's something that you can take action on. And that's what I want you to be able to do after tonight. Okay? So getting clarity, that's the first force. The second force we're going to talk about here is solidifying your personal brand. Okay? This is critical for you to set yourself apart in the market today. Okay? So we're going to do another one of these quick chats. Reminder, I'm going to do a 3, 2, 1 countdown. But the question here is, how would you define a personal brand? Like, what does that actually mean? How would you describe what a personal brand actually is? Okay, so again, type your answer in the chat. Don't press enter until we do a countdown. Give you just a few more seconds here. Think about this. Type it in. Okay, 3, 2, one, go. Who you are, what people associate when they think about you. Detail-oriented. Personal brand is a reputation for a set of skills and values. A one-line summary, perhaps, at the top of a LinkedIn profile. That's a great way to put it. Or one element of presenting your personal brand. Wilson's saying personal brand means what do people come to rely on in a colleague or person. That's a great way to put it too. And how people perceive you in the workplace, Kevin's saying. So great stuff. Thanks for sharing that. So a little bit of real talk. The truth is that the people in your life who are close to you, they know you well because they spend a lot of time with you. And so they know, who you are really well. But the people that we're interacting with in a job transition or trying to land a job, or a recruiter, a hiring manager, how do you expect them to know anything about you unless you find ways to tell them? Okay? We know ourselves, we're like, hey, I have this value I know I can give, but we need to find ways to tell people so they can get to know us, okay? And this is really the essence of the personal brand. It's a way of presenting who we are, and these days, it's usually online. And I can't think of a better place to show that for careers than LinkedIn, okay? Do a lot of work on LinkedIn, and careers is the best place to do it. So the truth is if you're applying for jobs, okay, you need to be able to use LinkedIn. If you're trying to connect with other people to grow your network, you need to use LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn, there's a lot of pieces to it, and it also continues to change and grow and develop like most social media platforms, okay? And that can seem overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Even just small adjustments in what you present there and how you interact with people can go a long way. So, for example, like the lowest hanging fruit you can possibly change is what's at the very top. Okay, your photos and your headline. And I just want to give you an example here because these things are shown more than anything else. They're shown in summaries, in really brief things. What people see is your photos, a little bit about your background photo, and that it's called your headline. Okay, and headlines are the most powerful thing if you want to show up in searches. Okay, and so if you have the right keywords, it means people will find you. So Patrick here, he's a senior engineer. And he talks about the different industries he works in: energy, power generation, utilities, operations, oil, gas, steam turbines, distribution, safety. All these different pieces are things that he is known for and that he can deliver value on. If a recruiter is looking for someone in those areas, well, Patrick's going to rise to the top. Okay. He also shows that he's very technical in his background photo. He's looking professional. You don't have to necessarily be dressed up in a suit, but he's looking good. He's smiling. You see him like, we like this. So when we, it's that first impression because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And often that first impression these days isn't that job interview. It's what you're sharing online. It's the online personal brand. And LinkedIn's a big piece of that. 95+% of recruiters they use LinkedIn. LinkedIn was originally created for recruiters, okay? So make sure you look good and share with them who you are and what you're about in your profile, okay? Don't leave them ignorant. Educate them. It's your job to share who you are and what you bring to the table. Now, we only talked about the very top of the profile. Like the whole profile, there are so many different elements to a profile, from your about section to your experience. You can put volunteer stuff, you can put skills, all sorts of things. We can't cover it all in this training. I do whole trainings just on LinkedIn sometimes. But I have some other free resources. If you reach out to me via LinkedIn, I'll be happy to share that with you. But the results of improving your LinkedIn presence and sharing your personal brand there can be quite staggering. So I just want to give you an example here. Someone who I worked with, we'll call him Matt, changed his name. He was a software engineer. And with what he had there, he had minimal stuff on LinkedIn. But because by virtue of software engineering being in high demand, he had one or two recruiters that would reach out to him every month or so. But we worked together and updated his LinkedIn profile. And then without doing anything else, he started getting 5 or more recruiters reaching out to him each week. So it completely multiplied how many people were reaching out to him. And these weren't just like podunk companies, or well-known companies, Facebook, Nike, Amazon, that came calling, okay? All because of some very simple profile optimization techniques that we used, okay? So basic lesson here is don't neglect LinkedIn. If you're willing to put in some work, update and communicate what your personal brand is, the payoff could be huge. Okay? So, and again, if you want some more resources, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Happy to share some other LinkedIn resources that might be helpful. All right? So, force number 3 we're going to talk about. It's really about building connections and relationships and what this is really about. So, another quick chat and kind of contextualize why this is so important. The question here is, I'm curious what you think is the average number of resumes that are submitted for an online job posting. So just the average, job that's out there on, in the world. How many resumes or applications do you think get put in on average for an average corporate job? Okay. So just put in a number, and we'll do 3, 2, 1, go. Wilson's saying 1,000, 250, 75, 100, 500. Kind of all over the place, and obviously it changes from role to role. All of these numbers could be true about a specific role, but the data shows that on average, okay, each corporate job posting attracts about 250 resumes or applications, okay, on average, okay. And so if you think about of these candidates, about 5 people are going to get an interview, and of course only 1 gets a job. It's about a 2% chance of getting an interview, all things being equal. And it's less than 0.5% chance of getting the job. Okay, and that's if you just submit a resume and hope that you get a job. But that's what a lot of people do. They use what I call the spray and pray method, and where you simply apply to as many jobs as possible and hope for results. but that approach is broken. We've made it so easy to apply for jobs with technology that everyone does it. Okay, and it's especially not going to work. Sometimes we think it's that magic bullet on LinkedIn, that easy apply button, where all we have to do is press one button. We don't even have to type anything in. Sounds great to get another application in, but I've never, ever heard of anyone actually getting a job by doing that, okay? And the truth behind this is, it's not job boards that actually hire people. It's people that hire people. This is the principle here. It's the people behind that actually decide to hire you, okay? So building connections and relationships through networking and the strategy behind that, that's the way to set yourself apart. It's the way you have to be going these days to be successful and get something that you're really excited about. Okay, a little bit more data. The data is a little fuzzy here because it's hard to capture this, but anywhere from 50 to 85% of jobs are filled as a direct result of networking, and sometimes or even jobs that are filled that never made it to job boards in the first place. And maybe it's even more in some cases. We know that. Well, the data is hard because those jobs never end up on a job board, so we don't know. These are estimations. But the truth is if you're not networking, your chances of being successful in doing this or landing a job that you're really excited about are low. But it doesn't have to be as scary or difficult. I know engineers sometimes get a bad rap because, we can't talk to people, or we're all introverts, or, whatever all that crap is that we believe about ourselves. It's really just, all it comes down to, networking is about building relationships. Okay, just simplify it. It's just meeting people, talking to people, having conversation. We don't need to overcomplicate it. So we just start ourselves by asking, okay, who do you know? Who do you know right now that might be able to help or provide some insights or share some information or maybe connect you with a job or an opportunity or that you can just learn from? Or maybe who do you want to know that might be able to provide some other insights on a company, an opportunity, a different industry that maybe you're considering, whatever that is, okay? Just a couple of simple questions. And then we start building and growing these professional relationships. And the way that I suggest to do that is set up informational interviews. They're just really simple conversations where you get to learn more about them. And almost always, if you have these conversations, they are going to be willing to help you beyond just that first conversation in a different way. But here's the sad truth, though, is that so many people I talk to, when I give trainings like this or in other groups, have never, not even once, conducted an informational interview. And this is a shame, okay? Because informational interviews are extremely powerful, an extremely powerful way to expand your network and build those relationships. And so if you're unfamiliar, if this is you and you're unfamiliar what an informational interview really is, okay, it's just, I want to make it simple right here. All you're doing is you're interviewing someone else about their experience in their job or their industry, okay? Excuse me. It's an opportunity to learn and connect with someone new in a brand new way. And it doesn't need to be long, just short. 15, 20 minutes is sometimes often, the first conversation. It can be certainly done in person, or these days people are even more comfortable doing them virtually over Zoom or even just a phone call, whatever you can get. Just have this conversation. But it's more personal. It takes that communication beyond the email or beyond a LinkedIn invite or connection or message or something like that. And you begin to build a relationship. And sometimes these relationships can turn into long-term mentors or other people that can help you in other ways. Okay? Excuse me, I'm going to get a drink real quick. But I'm curious, just to, just throw in the chat, yes or no. Have you ever done informational interviewing before? Throw it in the chat. I just want to see a yes or no. Have you done this? I'm seeing some yeses, some nos. Okay. My invitation to any of you, especially those of you who have said no, is to turn that into a yes. And the people who said yes, turn it into yes, and I'll do it again. Okay? Because this is an opportunity, because a very small portion of people that you meet are going to make the biggest difference in your career growth. Okay? Sometimes it just takes one person to be the right person to talk to. It's going to land the it's going to lead to the connection that's going to lead to the interview that's going to lead to the role, whatever that looks like. So if you can focus on finding these people and building relationships, it's going to help you network your way to opportunities. Here's the funny thing. I hear all the time people are like, hey, if people would just talk to me or give me an interview and get to know me, then they'd know that I could be a great fit for the role. But then they keep doing that spray and pray stuff where they just submit applications and hope they get a call back. This turns that around. When you focus on the relationships and talking to people, then that you're trying to get what you want to do anyway. You're trying to talk to people. And then you have that, you're going to have more opportunities to talk to people. Then they can get to know you and like you and want to refer you and help you in other ways. Okay? It doesn't need to be slimy. It's just about building relationships and trying to provide value and getting really curious about the other person. Put it quite simply. Okay? So hopefully that's helpful. All right. We're getting down to the home stretch here. We're getting close anyway. Force number 4 is about being a solution to a problem. Okay? And we're going to put this in the context of interviews, job interviews, when you get those opportunities. We want to really optimize every chance that you get. So we're going to do another quick chat here. The question here is, what do you think is that hardest interview question for you to answer? Thinking about when you've been in interviews, like what's the hardest one? I'm just curious to hear what you have to say here, because I want to put this in perspective. So I'll give you just a few more seconds here. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, enter. What do you bring to the table? What are you not? Oh, that's an interesting one. What's your biggest weakness? Okay, interesting things. Any other thoughts here? Throw them in. What do you do when you're not engineering? Tell us about a conflict. Those are interesting questions, conflict questions. But great opportunities to tell a story. Okay, so those are some great examples, and feel free to throw in some more into the chat as we continue forward. But that we've already talked about a solid personal brand and building that network. That's often going to help you get to the interview. But when you get to the interview, it's still kind of up to you, right? You need to really shine in the interview and be the clear winner, the person who seems like the best person for the team. And one key to doing this is to recognize that if there's a job opportunity that they're trying to fill, they're doing that because the company or the organization has a problem. Okay? So I want you to think about this. So, and you get to have that opportunity to be the solution to that problem. So these are just some examples of potential company problems that they could have and why there's a role. Okay, they may lack capacity. Maybe they need to get more done, or they have growth targets they're trying to meet, or new products they need to get out, or new technologies they need to build, okay? Maybe they need, because of that, someone with new skills that they don't have someone that has on the team. Maybe they're trying to get into a new industry or technology. They need someone with that experience and knowledge that can bring insights that they don't already have right now, okay? And maybe there are others. That's sort of your goal, is to figure that out. Like, what is the problem that they have? And can you solve that problem for them? Can you provide that value in solving the problem that they're trying to do this? And so at this point, hopefully, because you've done some networking, you have a company insider that you can ask some of these questions for, okay? And try and figure that out. Maybe you can learn some from the job description. Maybe you can learn some from someone else you know who works at that company. But then in the interview, it's your job to then go tell your story in a way that connects their problem with the fact that you can be the solution, okay? So your answers can include examples of how you have solved similar problems to what they're talking about. You may want to structure the stories that you tell in a way that shows what you can do and the results that you deliver, getting them thinking about you delivering similar or even better results for them as you continue to learn and grow, okay? And what this does is it starts to get them imagining you being the ones that's solving those problems for them. Okay, and then if they start to visualize you being the solution, the right person being successful there, well, then good things are going to happen. Okay, but it really starts fundamentally about caring about them and their success, what they're trying to accomplish, not you trying to push yourself as like, I'm amazing, you know, I deserve to be hired, kind of a thing. Okay, but then telling your story to show that you can help them. It's really coming from a place of service. Okay. They're thinking about it that way. And that you're the solution that they need. And if you can do this effectively and truly believe that you can help them, then you're bound to get job offers. If you can connect that in a way that they can understand. Okay? So it's getting inside their head, understanding what's important to them, and can you provide those solutions that are going to be helpful for them. Okay? Final force of the 5 forces is finding a mentor. Finding someone who can help you, because you don't want to do this alone. This whole process, job searching, landing a job, going through a transition, it can be emotionally draining, as probably many of you have or are experiencing. Okay, and so having a guide, a coach, a mentor, someone who can help pick you up when you're down and see those things that perhaps you can't see is really helpful. And I also truly believe getting support from other people in our lives, like, because nothing in life should be done alone, okay? And so we need trusted people that can build us up and help us on your team to be successful. And job searching should be no different than any other endeavor that we need other people to help us through, rather than just trying to be lone rangers here, okay? So just a few guidelines when you're considering finding a mentor, coach, someone who can help you. Hopefully they have successfully helped others through similar challenges to what you're facing. You know, have some experience in the industry you're in, have contacts across the industry that can help you get the information on how to get hired, and also give you resources, time, and attention that you need to make sure you don't stay stuck along the way. So if you ever reach a roadblock, they should be there to help you, right? They should not just have like no previous people that they've ever worked with, so they can back up results. Have little to no experience in your industry or field. They definitely shouldn't have a network that's less influential than your own. And you don't want someone who's just going to give you some ideas with no help to actually implement and personalize it to you, okay? Now, go back to our story, Alice in Wonderland, right? Like a mentor, the cat was not helpful. He was just causing her more confusion. He was not a mentor. But a good mentor could have perhaps helped Alice discover where she wanted to go so that she could chart a course. Would have asked better questions to help her understand what would be the best place for her depending on what her goals were, right? The cat did not do this. Okay, so and a good mentor or coach can help you do the same thing. So don't work alone, because you're almost guaranteed to stay stuck like Alice was for quite a while if you don't get that help that you need. Okay, So, quick review of the 5 forces. Number 1 was get clarity. Know where you're going so you can chart that path. Number 2, solidify your personal brand. We talked about LinkedIn in particular, making sure you tell your story, show who you are so that people don't have to guess because you're telling them. Okay? Number 3, build connections and relationships. Focus on strategic networking because it's people that hire people. Okay? So you need to connect with those people. Number 4, be the solution to a problem. Can you connect with what a company's trying to do and accomplish with how you can be helpful and of service to them? Number 5, find a mentor, someone who can help you. Now, I promise you that if you utilize these forces in your career, I promise you that things will accelerate for you. So we've talked about a lot of this. I ran you through these 5 forces. I just want to ask you a quick question. Did I keep my promise? My promise was at the very beginning, I told you that I wanted you to have some clear actions and adjustments that you could use to get unstuck and get hired fast. Did I keep my promise? Just let me know in the chat. Like, yes. Did I keep my promise here? I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Well, that makes me happy. I'm glad that I did, because that's really my goal here. Now, the next question is, are you all good from here? Do you have everything you need? Well, yes and no, right? I provided you the whole ideas and these key forces that are going to be helpful, but to provide context in a different industry, perhaps, Warren Buffett, right, one of the most successful investors of all time, he could explain investing in just one sentence. Well, you need to buy low, sell high, and only invest in things you understand, right? But I understand that principle, but I'm certainly not investing like Warren Buffett is, and maybe you are. But it's the details that make all the difference. And so the people who are truly committed to finding the answers are the ones that succeed. And even when things are looking great or aren't looking great and are challenging, and even perhaps if they have to pay for it and take a leap of faith there. That's what Jay did. We talked about Jay earlier. So there are a lot of things that you have to figure out at this point. These are just some questions that you may need to answer for yourself, like what direction you want to take, how do you build that personal brand, and how do you talk about some of those things that you want to share? How do you craft that great resume or LinkedIn profile so that you can present yourself well? How do you actually get those conversations with recruiters and hiring managers and other professionals, those informational interviews? How do you get more interview opportunities? How do you negotiate your offer so you can make it as best as you can? And where can you find that mentoring support you need? And of course, there's everything else that you don't know, right? There's so much here, right? And so you can figure this out for yourself. All of you are smart people and have figured all sorts of things out for yourself. That's one of the great hallmarks of being an engineer. And so you could do this yourself, or I can help. Okay, I can show you the entire system even in more detail. It's helped many, many engineers like you get life-changing career upgrades. And so if you don't mind, I'm just going to spend a few minutes talking about some of the details of some additional training and support resources that I have for you. And then we'll go to Q&A. And I'll answer any questions you have for as long as you want to stick around if I can answer questions. Okay? So I put together a program I call the Engineering Career Accelerator. And it's really designed to help you go even further and accelerate your career even faster using essentially these 5 forces of career acceleration that we talked about today. So inside of here is a whole training program. You get 7 value-packed training modules on mindset, career clarity, optimizing LinkedIn, rocking your resume, learn how to network like a pro, owning the interview, and negotiating with confidence from beginning to end, even from where you think, and understanding your mindset so you can be successful through this whole process, which I believe is critically important. Okay? And it'll walk you through this whole process. And so all of this training, and there's a lot of detail in there, videos and resources and other things, could take you far on its own, but I want to give you even more than just the training. Okay? So we've also got a private engineering career community that we host on LinkedIn. Other people who are actively working on this. You can increase your network. You get opportunities to help each other and get other people to help you. Okay. We also have weekly group coaching calls live, with great people like are here to move through this transformation that you're going to go through. These live calls are on Thursdays at the same time, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern time. Okay, so that's a time that seems to work well for a lot of people. And the goal in these calls is to make sure you keep making progress and you don't stay stuck, and we can personalize the help that you need. Okay, so if you have a question, I'm there, but then the whole group is there to also answer those questions for you and help you provide their perspectives. And you can be there for them. It's a wonderfully supportive group. So it's designed to be a perfect fit for you because we've got these fast-paced video lessons, got PDF guides and templates to help you move through a number of these activities. We do weekly group coaching. We have this online community, and you get unlimited email support from me personally. Now I put an asterisk next to this because if you're going to be crazy and send me 10 plus emails, I'm going to boot you out. If you send me 10 emails a day, okay, I'll send you on your way. But I answer emails all the time. I'm a human. I will email back to you, but I want you to be successful. If you hit a roadblock, I want to help you, okay, if you're there, and I'll be there for you, okay? I do this all the time for people. We've had people who have come from and to large companies and smaller companies that you may be familiar with: Amazon, Microsoft, Micron, Nike, aerospace companies like Firefly, Schneider Electric, Esri, more startups like Degreed, T-Mobile, National Labs like Los Alamos, Lockheed Martin, Mercedes-Benz or Daimler, okay? And remember, so large companies you're aware of, Blue Origin even, okay? And perhaps you remember Lewis. He talked about some of these things that he was experiencing. You could relate with some of those at the beginning. Well, this is what he said after we worked together. He said, "The more than engineering career development approach created by Jeff helped me optimize my job search capabilities by providing tips and guidance not only in resume writing, but also networking, interviewing, negotiations, and overall career path coaching." I just got a message with him about a week ago. And this is what he said. He said, "I wanted to let you know that after applying to 7 positions, I got interviewed by 5 of them, and I received offers from 3. I've chosen the best one for my career and family at an aerospace company, and he starts in a couple weeks." And so he's really excited. He said, "Thanks so much for your help, guidance, and advice throughout this process." And so the emails and notes like this are, just joy for me. It's why I do this work. So, I can't guarantee any results, as I said before, but I just want you to be thinking about what could be possible for you if you could have a roadmap to landing a job that you're excited about, that you love, and accelerate your career, thinking about the salary opportunities, the additional job satisfaction, fulfillment. Maybe you're looking for more work-life balance that could be possible for you. We're trying to look at that big picture to get, as much as we can for you. So if that's interesting to you, you can join the program. Right now it's only $597, okay? And, I got to guarantee if you get in there, you come to a group session, you realize for some reason it's not for you, let me know. And I'll give you a refund, no questions asked. So that $597 gets you lifetime access to the course and that first month of group coaching. And if you want to continue getting more access to the group coaching, that's just $197 a month just for the group coaching. You've already got access to the online resources and email access with me, okay? And, you can earn that money back and more so quickly if we can just get you hired 1 week earlier, especially if you're unemployed. For an engineering salary, that's an easy ROI. Or if we can help you negotiate your salary a little bit higher, 5%, 10%, 20% or more. I've seen even more than that with people I've worked with. We can help you increase your performance so that you're working more in alignment with your goals, going to help you in the short term and the long term grow your career. And if you can learn how to network, find new mentors, improve that network, and really get on a growth trajectory that's going to be exciting for you. In addition to all this stuff, there's a couple other bonuses, something I call the Hiring Insiders Vault, where I interviewed recruiters, hiring managers, and HR professionals, talking about kind of their insights on that insider view of what it looks like when they're searching for people and how they hire. Plus, you get access to my network, my vast network of over 15,000 connections and followers now on LinkedIn alone. If I can make an introduction to you, open doors. I've done this with a lot of people, and sometimes that makes all the difference and provides opportunities. I'm always willing to make those introductions. So there's just a couple of the bonuses. So if this sounds good to you, and only if this sounds good to you, then here's how you sign up, okay? I'll get to that in just a second, but just, go back to another scientific principle here is that, again, object at rest will stay at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. Okay, that's another one of Newton's laws. And so if you feel like you're at rest in your career because you're out of a job, you're feeling stuck, you feel like you have limited opportunities to progress, you've hit that ceiling, whatever that is, you can continue to stay at rest, or I would be honored if you would join the Engineering Career Accelerator program, and it could be that outside force to accelerate your career now. So all you need to do is go to www.engineeringcareeraccelerator.com/ECA group. And I'll throw this link in the chat to be helpful for you, so you can find that. And if someone could do me a favor, I'll throw this in the chat here. Make sure I send it to everyone. Can someone test that out for me, make sure it works? The worst thing you do is to share something and then it doesn't work. I don't want that to happen. So can someone just check that out for me, make sure it works, and you're seeing essentially the screen that I'm sharing up here. Just Sam saying it works. Good deal. Thumbs up. Love it. Okay, thank you, Sam. Anyway, thanks for checking that out for me. Now I'm not going to do one of those things where I'm going to lie and say that the program's going to go away and you'll never be able to get in if you don't sign up right away and all that stuff. Now, but that being said, like, what I don't want you to do is stay stuck in that analysis paralysis. I presented on that page, you'll see a lot of details about exactly what's in the program, examples of people that I've worked with, testimonials and things like that. And so, but if it's right for you, and only if you feel like this is truly right for you, I really want you to get out of that analysis paralysis, invest in yourself, take action, and do something about this and join us, okay? And do this for you because of all the opportunities that it could create, okay? Because if you want to get that clarity, build a brand, land a job you love, escape unemployment if that's you, or just accelerate your career, I invite you to join us, okay? Go to that URL. And we'll work on this. So at this point, you've watched the entire presentation, talked about a lot of stuff. You want to accelerate your career. You know this is going to help. I'd love for you to take me off on this offer and join us and start making progress now. If you sign up today, we'll get you in to group coaching tomorrow. You can get into the mindset stuff tonight and get going on it right away. It'll get you instant access to that online course. Okay. Would love for you to join and get going now. But as promised, I'm here for Q&A. That's all I planned and prepared. Thanks for letting me share that, and I do that out of service. I really want to provide that opportunity for people who feel like it's good for them. But for Q&A, anything goes. Don't be shy, and we'll spend whatever time we need to answer your questions. So, what questions are on your mind that I can help answer? Sam's saying, any tips on how to break through paralysis by analysis? Sam, do you mind unmuting and telling us a little bit more about what you're dealing with? I'm going to make you talk for us.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Go for it.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for hosting this Zoom call. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
So I tend to be rather risk adverse, and so that leads me to want to, just dig and do some research or contemplate, maybe set goals, make a list. But I find myself just over analyzing and maybe some self-doubt coming in, maybe, things just moving much slower than they need to because I want to be successful. I don't want to go out trying to network and flounder. I don't want to go out and apply to a bunch of jobs and flounder. I want to be strategic and successful, but I probably, as the phrase goes, have paralysis by analysis, overthinking instead of taking action.
Yeah. So a couple different ideas for you. First of all, it's attributed to Einstein. I don't know if he actually said it or not. He said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Okay? Yeah. So if that's you or anyone else here, if you've kind of been in that space and you've been doing this over and over again, like in analysis paralysis, and if that's not working for you, which is why you're reaching out for help here, then I invite you to take some action that's different than what you're doing. Okay. That's one way to look at it. Another quote that I really love from another one of my mentors is, "In the absence of clarity, take action." Okay. One of the best things you can do is to do something, because sometimes we just want to analyze, we want to think about it too much. It's an occupational hazard, perhaps, as engineers, where we want to run all the analysis, we want all the data. But in a lot of this stuff, the data doesn't exist other than data that we need to acquire by taking action and learning and trying things. So instead of looking at the data, we need to acquire data by trying and doing things differently. And you will learn, you will grow, you'll develop, and yes, you will stumble. There will be challenges, there will be setbacks. But if you have support, if you find people around you or mentors or coaches, I'd love to be a part of that success team for you, then you have much more chances of success because you're not alone in it. And you get out of your own head sometimes and can take action and make progress. Is that helpful, Sam?
Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Great question. Any other questions anyone has about any of the topics we talked about or the program, whatever's on your mind?
Any tips on where to go for like good salary survey info?
Yeah, a couple different places.
Top websites to figure out how people are getting paid in my area.
Yeah, a couple places, especially if it's a larger established company. Glassdoor, salary.com, payscale.com will provide things. Another thing that's interesting, just happened relatively recently, is the state of Colorado requires employers to share salary data. And so I don't know exactly what the best resources are, but I'm sure if you Google it, you can find it. You can do some salary research in the state of Colorado by the new data that's out there, and then you can do kind of place-to-place comparisons and kind of go up or down for your own salary expectations based on your level of experience and where your location is compared to what they're sharing in Colorado. So that's another place, way that you can kind of get additional data that's maybe even more transparent than it used to be. So,
did you say Glassdoor, Indeed?
Glassdoor, Indeed will share some. LinkedIn will sometimes do some salary calculations. Payscale.com and salary.com are the other ones. Yeah. And no one's going to give you like the perfect answer. You're going to get ranges. The point is just to be as informed as possible. Okay.
The last time I was hunting for a job, there was a website called like Engineering Career Salary, and it was really good. You could filter down to a specific job title and industry and zip code, years of experience and degree, and it really gave a good salary range. But that website looks like it's down now. So
that's too bad.
It's really disappointed.
It's too bad.
Because you really need to have it per your local area, industry, education, experience, everything.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, so some of these places have that. Sometimes it's going to be behind a little bit of a paywall in some cases, but if you do some digging, you can find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Andre's asking, I'm having thoughts. I'm not cut out for engineering. Any advice on anyone who might be heading into a different direction altogether? Andre, are you willing to talk a little bit more about this? This sounds like, as much as anything, a mindset block that you're dealing with. Do you mind unmuting and talking to us a little bit here? Okay. got kids he's dealing with. But Andre, just a couple thoughts for you. First of all, this is something that needs to be addressed, because here's the thing: if you're looking to get an opportunity, when it comes to like interviewing and getting there, like the company needs to believe, like we talked about, that you're the right person for the job, that you're the solution for the problem. And if you don't believe that you're cut out to do that, then it's going to be really hard to get them to believe that you're the right person, right? So it's something that needs to be addressed. Now, if you're thinking about going a different direction for another reason, I hope it's not because, hey, you've had a few setbacks and so you feel like this is never going to work out for you. I hope it's because you are moving towards something that you decided that you would rather do, that's exciting to you. Okay? It's so much more powerful from a standpoint to move towards something that we really want, that leverages our strengths. So it may be you doing a little bit of digging into where your true strengths lie, and how you can utilize those in different ways, which may include, or not include, engineering. And I've worked with plenty of people who have come from or to engineering from various places, like making transitions to other types of work and industry. First of all, it's not shameful. Second of all, if you really realize that's what's right for you, then go for it. You just need to still use those same principles around, can you be the solution to a problem in a different area that may not directly be related to what your original major or something was in, and that's okay. We just need to be able to help there. Like, hey, I'm doing this coaching thing. I didn't get my undergraduate or graduate degree in doing this, but I found ways to provide solutions for people, and because of all the things I've learned, right? So can we do that? That's some of the question you need to answer. And again, go back to that mindset side. Do you believe in yourself? And sometimes if you don't believe in yourself, we lean on the other people who do believe in us to help us through that process. Because I'm sure you have friends, family, and mentors and others who do believe you, that do see your potential, because you've got a lot of it, I'm sure. So thanks for being willing to ask that question. All right, any other questions that are on your mind here I can answer before we get off? Andre, hopefully that was helpful. Good deal. All right. Derek, Jordan, Wilson, anyone else who's here, I just want to say, if you're still here, like there's a reason. Like if you're not sure yet about like joining the program and getting some extra help, like I encourage you to take some action. And if getting some, get some help. If that's not from me, okay, but get some additional help to help you move through this process. Take some action on the principles we talked about tonight. But I encourage you to make a decision. Like as far as this program, like say yes or no as soon as you can, so that you can move forward and you're not stuck in that analysis paralysis. Okay, and I really care about your success. So the last thing I want you to do is nothing. Take no action at all. Okay, I really want you to do what's going to help you move forward. So thank you all for being here. So excited that we got to share these ideas, these principles, and these forces of the career acceleration. Would love to have you in the ECA program. If you feel like that's a great fit for you, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be sending you a follow-up email with a little more information. But if you're here, go ahead and jump in. Invest in yourself. Jump into that mindset module, and send me what your biggest realization was, and would love to see you on the inside, and we'll get you into group coaching starting tomorrow if you make that decision. But let me know if you have any questions. Stay in touch no matter what. Connect with me on LinkedIn if we're not already, and hope to see you soon, either in the program or just in general. So thanks so much for being here. Have a great night.